out across the world. Teams really have been min-maxing that and finding all the little nooks and crannies we can get more value. We're going to be heading into our bans soon, Mox. Let's walk our audience through how Ignite does their bans.
Well, it's going to be an insta-ban up first, and ooh, it feels like we're back in our playoff stages because Rad insta-ban out the Emma. There's 100 Thieves are going to be taking the Mantis off of the board, so there goes the Ultron composition as well as a red stat.
There's a world where banning Emma Frost as well might force Vinny towards over the Venom or the group, both of which can be particularly vulnerable to the Wolverine, but Naga likes to pick up. And this might mean that 100 Thieves have to pivot into a Wolverine ban. First Protect's going to be going the way of Lunar Snow.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves are actually going to be targeting the Ultron, so they're weakening a Human Torch because Rad are going to be removing it from 100 Thieves and foregoing actually potentially having that save on the Human Torch. They're going to be now taking out that Phoenix to start limiting the hero pool for Delana.
Yeah, there may be a world where they just go all after the hero pool of Delana here and try and get rid of a Psylocke as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Loki Protect coming through. That's obviously one for Harvey, who gets a huge amount of value out of that one. And Captain America is going to be the last ban here.
Yeah, Captain America is going to be banned. So Luna is still going to be actually up right now for 100 Thieves. It's not one-sided, as Rad prioritized removing the Amma for that Psylocke to not get the mirror symmetry. As we're going to be seeing a one-sided Phoenix, however, come on through from Rad, which is now going to force 100 Thieves to ban Magneto, I would be assuming, so that we don't see the Meteor M combined with Inferno, which has been absolutely melting through a lot of these team fights. But no, they actually removed the Venom instead, taking out Trust Me's opponent.
And getting rid of a potential for the Symbiotic Shenanigans team up with Jeff. The Symbiotic Shenanigan Tendrils combined with the Soul Bond of Adam Warlock can be so much sustain for that all-important first fight on each of these domination submaps.
Well, Rad were able to get their hands on Human Torch, as 100 Thieves did not ban it. They did, however, weaken the resources that it would have available, but they also didn't go after the Invisible Woman. So...
It's going to be a lot of liability.
Yeah, we might actually get to see Rad prioritize going for the Invisible Woman, but then again, they have the Lunar Snow, so they might think that having the Idle Aura with the 35% heal trickle is more than enough to embolden Naga and keep Invisible Woman out of the lineup, as the ultimate is just one of the worst, especially on Domination, where it's so important that you actually utilize the Strategist ultimate on the point itself.
Yeah, getting true value out of those, making sure that everyone's healed up and also able to move forward as one. That's where you really look to your leader in Trust Me. Let's head into our losers finals. Mox, only one of these teams can take a shot at our big trophy and against the Titans of Envy. And we find out who, starting on map number 1, Celestial Husk.
Well, Trust Me doesn't get access to the Venom, but he's still going to be running Dive. It's going to be the Captain America. So 100 Thieves shoring up their backline, with Terra actually going to be starting off on that Winter Soldier Bionic Hook in case the Captain America gets a little bit too close.
Yeah, could have also been a preemptive hedge against the Wolverine as well to try and shut them down in the aftermath of a Primal Flame enhanced Feral Leap. For now, Vinny just speculating as Naga looks around the edge. He wants to try and get in onto Delana, who has the pops out there. Psionic stealthing. Still, Trust Me, manages to hunt them down. And that's going to be an early opening here for Rad. They aren't worrying about the flanks anymore.
Yeah, and this Human Torch can now start applying all of that spam pressure with the Psylocke being out of the mix. You don't have to worry about your flyers getting pushed. Regeneration Domain already going to be forced too, which means that Rad are going to be feeling incredibly confident the second those crystals burn to keep on moving forward. But they stay a little bit too long, Harry, and Trust Me goes down.
Yeah, Regeneration Domain wasn't quite there in time to save the Captain America. Look, Delana's already back using both the dashes. What is this? Naga super low down into the ground. He bonked his Whittle ahead. And while Delana's even more happy to stick a katana in it thereafter to find the elimination. And now Terra with Protostern. She's going to be able to stand strong here. Rajaro grabbed from the air. Fate noted round the side. Melio's taking out Terra in the midst of all of this as Crook moves on forward. Fate of both worlds in their hands. The end song strikes pay dirt, but no final frags are found. Naga looks towards the skies. Delana is isolated for a moment. Maybe a hot drop on the cards right here, but taking to the sky allows him a little bit of extra momentum. Up comes the Meteor M, hiding inside in the Regeneration Domain to make sure that there's not going to be any final hits given over. Still, Melio was isolated elsewhere. Delana plays around the outside. And you can see the Dancing of Butterflies is ready to go for a moment, dodging away to make sure that Rajaro can't take them out with the Meteor M. Instead, Melania is given all of the attention, and Delana's finally hunted down by Naga on the periphery.
Yeah, Terra got picked, had to come back on the Doctor Strange to help out the brawl fight, so wasn't there to keep the dive in check. The fight's still going though, as 100 Thieves refuse to give it on up. They've still got the Dance of the Butterflies, but without that Doctor Strange, I think it's just going to be a matter of trying to stop Rad from picking up as much point percentage as possible, as they're going to be holding on to its use in this next fight. Normally, that Dance of the Butterflies would be able to find value, but into a Loki with the Doppelgangers plus that regeneration domain, 100 Thieves are going to have to take it a little bit slower, wait for those resources to be down before they look for those picks.
Yeah, somewhat under-resourced here are Rad, but Naga does have the Supernova available, and 100 Thieves don't really have the wherewithal to stand up to this until they have one of their strategist ultimates online.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves are actually going to be swapping the Winter Soldier onto the Wolverine, and they've already been able to find the flyer. They knew that Naga was the only one with an ultimate on Rad's side, and they try and shut it down, but the peel is immediate, and the Supernova sounds on off, forcing Harvey into using that God of Mischief to burn a Lunar ult.
Okay, great regeneration there coming through from Harvey. Dance of the Butterflies might be focused in only onto the Lunar Snow here. Terra getting up close and personal. Final Sam ready to go. Up to the air goes the Phoenix. The impact isn't quite there though. Terra can't convert upon the players who are grabbed up into the skybox. And now it's just down to try and chase the Captain America. Trust me, falls to that one, but Harvey going to be taken out on the other side. The Phoenix hits the ground, and that's going to be a recontest coming through from Rajaro. The Pentagram of Ferala has been formed, coming directly out of a spawn to make sure that all of those of Rad who pop out of that spawn door are easily able to return. The damage proves too much for Melania, and Permafrost becomes temporary frost. It's just taken elsewhere. Naga floats above it. All the Feast of the Abyss takes a bite out of Rajaro, but Mystic Flavored Candy is easy to try and get out of the system for now. Trust me, he's just going to keep this one contested.
Yeah, trust me, he's just keep on putting pressure on that back line. The Meteor M used earlier means that the Supernova is absolutely free. It's combined with the Eye of Agamotto, and that one's going to sting.
All right, the Supernova just does so much damage, both soul and body cooked alive by Naga, reducing the 100 Thieves to atoms. And despite the purchases that have been made so far, they still haven't been able to flip the point at all.
Yeah, level 1 Crook's going to have God of Mischief too. It's up to Vinny on this Venom to try and get a tap to activate that overtime, as we're in final fight territory, but the Venom falls. He's been able to activate the overtime, but 100 Thieves don't have the Strange Portal, and it's just going to have to be a Wolverine jump onto point to keep it going.
Vinny made the ultimate sacrifice, and Terra might be the next one to come on up. Fate of both worlds, stolen away by Harvey, the God of Mischief, certainly trying to make something work. Terra's managed to take Naga down to Terra Firma and snuff a flame out for a moment longer. Melio dodges around on point, setting up the sparks, ready to try and one-tap the Lunar Snow, following in after this, but no, taken out from mid-air. The end song is stopped, and the Spotify subscription is cancelled. Crook and Fate have fallen down. 2 Lunar Snows wilt and melt before the burning fiery passion of 100 Thieves. Trust me, still dances around, but it's a dance macabre as he falls, and Rad finally lose control of the point.
The stabilization is there, but it is one fight territory, and 100 Thieves are going to have to stop Rad from just getting that Captain America onto point to force a back cap contest, or potentially hitting into that back line and pushing Harvey into burning those regeneration domains a little bit earlier than the Loki would prefer. Terra's so close to that last stand, but here's, trust me, already creating enough attention that the rest of his team get more space, and that fight is about to move on to the objective.
Yeah, trust me, says everybody, look at me. Delena needs some attention off on the angle. Naga not getting a little too frisky just yet, waiting for everyone to look at Trust Me, and Terra certainly has committed to that one, falling super low. The last stand still available. I believe that was a regeneration domain used there by Crook from afar, down into the midst of everybody. But guess what? Already the song of my people is playing, and that's the fate of both worlds decided here in super low. Vinny brings them with the Feast of the Abyss, and Harvey drives all forward with their own fate of both worlds. It's healing for everybody. The end song ignites, and Harvey just gets cooked under the pressure into the microwave. They close the door, they lock it down. 100 Thieves now need a plan to try and keep this one contested. It's already halfway captured for the side of Rad. A recontest of a portal might well be on the cards here if Terra respawns, but it's going to be Delena who hits in first with the Dance, the Butterflies. Managed to get rid of level 1. Croak fates up on the docket, trying to hunt down. Oh, what a bounce from Trust Me! Bro's absolutely crazy. Delena didn't see that one coming, and Naga's turning up the temperature. The Kelvin level rises. TTK looks away and takes down Melio in their own right. As guess what? In the midst of all this, an Iron Fist has arrived. Terror in mid-air. The Hot Drop not able to compete, and that's going to be Naga coming up close to the flame clusters, making sure that the chi itself is absolutely melted.
Yeah, it's just dealing with some of these picks coming on through. 100 Thieves trying to force level level 1 Crook into feeling pressure to utilize that ultimate so they don't have it the next round. The regeneration domain's going to be burnt almost immediately, and still Rad haven't been able to finalize these picks. Melania gets the Human Torch, Meldio trades it to the Venom, and it's going to have to be level 1 Crook parting with the God of Mischief instead.
Harvey's managed to get it as well. Everybody's dancing on the point. It's a good time for all and sundry. Karaoke party, a singing fade of both worlds. They're waiting to see who's a rival till the end. The assembly is called as the Freedom Charge moves forward. Terra's regeneration factor cannot deal with the damage that is brought forth. Melania's rolled in with the shield, blocking off the heals to make sure that maybe 100 Thieves convert upon the stuns that were delivered by the Eye of Agamotto. Dancing away once again, Luna Snow desperately begs for their team to cling to the realm of the living, but on the Celestial Husk, the symbiote claims all and sundry. They return to the soil, they return to the tendrils, and we'll move on to map number 2.
What an overtime fight, though. If they weren't up against a composition with a Luna, a Captain America, and a Loki, 100 Thieves likely would have been able to flip that, because they had damage-boosted Eye of Agamotto when Delana and Melania lined their ultimates up, and Vinny was desperately trying to build up the Feast of the Abyss to be the tipping point. That would finally be the straw that broke the camel's back that was Rad's sustain cycle.
See that Vinny was able to hold on to that Feast of the Abyss. It might well be an opening factor here as we head into our second map.
We get Asgardian Rebirth. Delana and Harvey. Delana's going to be going over onto the Hela. I mean, she's hit scan, so she should be able to put pressure onto these flyers, but you do have to worry about a Captain America just running on top of you every single time Trust Me has anything to say about it. So it's really going to be up to 100 Thieves to keep the Captain America off of the Hela and give Delana enough space to be able to take these flyers down.
And let's not forget, Hela's part of a Symbiotic Shenanigans team up now as well, so Soldier is going to have an additional slow on it, Mox.
Yeah, Terra's got that last stand, doesn't want to get scouted either, and cleared out. There's the Phoenix. The grab's not going to be able to connect, though. Has to get back to this team, and Harvey gets left behind in the interim as Melio's able to find the pick, and that just means 100 Thieves, they can't risk it.
It's okay, that's what Ragnarok Rebirth is for. And Melia might be offering up a chance to resurrect her if they keep on poking into this angle. For now, everyone's going to have to divert themselves over onto a point prioritized for capture of the mission area. Vinny's already been forced to fly away after using that symbiotic resilience. TTK has no such dreams of escape, and Terra tries to relieve some of the pressure. In comes for a regeneration domain of a Meteor M, floats imperiously above it all, waiting for some of those to go away, but no, it's only level 1 Crook who manages to tank all of the damage. Naga desperately needs a heal, has the Snowflake indeed, and ducks into the AoE that Luna Snow provides. Delana's going to be the primary target here, so far away from their own Luna Snow, but Melio is going to be the main victim. The Feast of the Abyss chomps down on the Phoenix as Null proclaims victory in a battle as old as time here on Clintar. Still with Delana and Terra down, 100 Thieves are missing a lot of the muscle to try and make this one work, but when you look for muscle, it's Vinny, the big boy from down below, who might well be able to supply it in towards the back. That's going to be a quick copy. God of Mischief coming out from the Loki, and of course it's going to be the fate of both worlds. What else would be the answer here for 100 Thieves? Additional sustainability. The two songs continue to play, and now with the end song prepared, everyone is forced to move themselves away from the point. A nice bank on through, but no final hits delivered.
Level 1 Crook's about to get another God of Mischief. Trust Me does fall, so no Captain America to be able to bounce off the point contest. Terra's built the Kraken Impact. The Loki Doppelgangers are still up. They'll provide one reset. They almost end the Winter Soldier down, but the Magneto will be able to find the Bulwark, and Rad now are forced to live until level 1's Crook ultimate can come on through. However, the damage is so stacked. Meteor M holds the space, allows Delana to start getting these hits on through, and 100 Thieves are starting to stabilize.
TTK unable to convert, Trust Me, with 2 off of Vibranium Energy. Saw Bro into Home Depot and walked out with the whole bloody store right there. Trust Me now, gonna hunt down Harvey. The healing is wanting for the side of 100 Thieves. Sustainability's not there, only Vinny stands up for the remainder of the team, and Rad are gonna get the first capture after, what was that, 3 minutes?
Yeah, I think that might have been one of the longest no-cap fights that Marvel Rivals Ignite has seen. It felt like we were playing ResComp. as Naga is actually off of the Human Torch, going over onto that Wolverine to be able to counter grab the Venom when Vinny tries to get on through, as that is going to be something that they have to be cognizant of. Feast of the Abyss amped on up with Melania's Fate of Both Worlds is going to be the recipe for 100 Thieves success, especially if they have that Kraken impact coming on through secondarily.
Yeah, combined with the Culling Aura, it can be absolutely deadly. Mox, both of them mostly just respect the overall max health percentage. Trust me, falling low. Rottersturm starts to carve on through, and Terra's able to convert onto this with Loki clones aplenty. Terra's going to have reset up the reset, and Rajro now tries to slow the tempo. The Meteor M heads up towards the top. Terra shut on down, no more resets, but with level 1 Crook down, it's limited healing that's available for Rad. Trust me, going to be coming on back with the Freedom Charge, need to jog on through first and give over that additional staying power to the remainder of the team. Stacking on up to democratize the damage. Any Fate is caught within. Delena has the perfect steering of the Dance of the Butterflies in order to make sure that the target is prioritized. Melania forced out here to use their ultimate, and that means that maybe 100 Thieves are going to have been find themselves stalled out a while longer.
Yeah, but level 1 Crook still has the God of Mischief, manages to find the line of sight onto Melania to get the later Fate of Both Worlds, and this is just going to be clean up on the point right about now. Magneto is trying to body block long enough. Out comes the Meteor M, but the Eye of Agamotto is going to be able to find the pick onto the Lunar Snow from behind before that Meteor can hit, and Rad should be able to start cleaning up these plays from Thieves' side finally.
Yeah, TTK tries to use the Meteor M to peel some of the damage that was coming in towards the stunned Lunar Snow, but it doesn't respect the Dark Maelstrom. 100 Thieves finally managed to flip the point at least, so all of this time they are accruing percentage towards victory, but with Melania falling down again, 100 Thieves are running on borrowed time. The damage that they take is going to be permanent, with the exception of any healing that comes through from Wolverine. And now it's Vinny towards the back. Seems like the Feast of the Abyss didn't manage to get too much, and well, you know that Wolverine's going to have to lodge a complaint with the manager here. Adamantium claws tear through symbiotic sinew, and the two Vanguard are now under threat. Easy damage coming on through, but having to move aside because the threat is too much. The lady gets two with a single use of the whip. Now that is some magic, making the entire Vanguard line disappear.
Vinny's coming back on the thing to get back into the fight a little bit faster. Level 1 Crook uses the God of Mischief, but there's no follow-up off of the back of it. And Harvey actually is there's to mirror too, as both of these teams now, without that Loki ultimate, going to have to come back into this fight with just the base Lunar as a defensive. Delena's going to be holding onto that Eye of Agamotto, though Naga back on the Human Torch might be vulnerable up in the sky with no shield to protect him from it.
No protection available. Vinny on the thing, at least is going to be a lot more of an issue for Naga, hence the swap back over. Might well be able to grab up Terra here with the Cosmic Fastball as well for even more Berserk state damage. Naga playing around the outside. It's going to be very difficult to deal with, actually. It's mostly going to be the Lunar Snow who's able to actually put some threat over onto Naga here.
Yeah, has to be careful that he doesn't get jump caught by Vinny on the thing, though!
Oh, no.
And talking about getting caught, that last stand just got too many players from Rad's side. Fate, no choice, has to go for the ultimate just to keep the team sustained. What a catch of the shield to come on through and block Rogero's Meteor, and Delena, the hero of the hour, still holding on to the Eye of Agamotto as well. And he invests it at the same time as the wall looks for the grab.
The double dodge onto both the Feral Leap and the Eye of Agamotto as well. A lot of resources used there to try and shut down Naga, but now he's coming in with his own vengeance. Many of the Flame Tornadoes might well be eaten up. TTK looks for a speculative usage here of the ultimate, but doesn't quite connect where it's needed. Rad now still have the Ensign coming on back, but Melius returning from Spawn due to the gift that was given over by Terra earlier. Harvey uses the God of Mischief to become Lunar Snow, of course. The fate of both worlds will once more be proclaimed, and the fate of the lower finals as well. Taken from the air is Naga. Terra, the anti-air missile, the angry little man that is the Wolverine. Rogero's next to fall on down. Terra refuses to be humiliated 2-0 on control. And here on domination, it is domination for Terra. Too far away is Trust Me, and 100 Thieves even it up.
The target focus coming on through from 100 Thieves side is absolutely stellar. They know that the Human Torch, if everyone is fighting on the point because it's an overtime play, no one has the time to be able to look up into the sky, and Naga would have been able to get away with so much, but 100 Thieves make sure to keep the torch in the periphery and shut the Supernova down before it can come on through. If they don't have Meteor M, they go with the Eye of Agamotto, the pressure of that Wolverine to force Naga into not being able to use it until TTK has that ultimate bolt.
And now it all comes down to the last domination map. Oh, Mox, this one's going the distance. Every single one of these maps has taken so long as well. Each is so hard fought. And once again, it's going to be a bitterly fought competition for first control.
Yeah, 100 Thieves have adapted, it feels, to the tempo that Rad have been playing them. That first round, having a lack of Emma Frost to be able to use the Carbon Crusher against the Captain America was pretty brutal, but this time around, Terra's going to be starting on that Winter Soldier once more. We'll see whether or not that's going to be swapping on over to a Wolverine if they lose the first fight, as no one on the 100 Thieves side has an ultimate. Rad, in the meantime, they're going to be incredibly close to getting to amp up that Phoenix Endsong Inferno with the help of a Luna.
Vibranium Energy Sword doesn't get too much. Maybe we'll have hit the rock instead, but now in towards the back line, Melania and Harvey are going to be forced to pay attention to each other. And while you're looking at each other, you're not looking at Rajaro. Fate adds to the symphony with the ice arts as well. And it's quite the collage macabre, but has been generated here by Rad. This could be a quick first cap. There are still 100 Thieves members around, though.
Yeah, no Luna guest track needed. It is just Melia's Endsong Inferno to be able to instantly break those regeneration domain crystals coming on through from 100 Thieves side. That Phoenix ultimate being able to break deployables is pretty rough for the God of Mischief to have to handle. Unfortunately for 100 Thieves, they're going to now have to handle the spam composition in a retake situation.
Yeah, this is where you really find your approaches taxed, Mox, and it's going to allow Naga to build up towards a supernova so quickly.
Yeah, point percentage too. 100 Thieves, there's a toll to pay for an approach, and it's either going to be an ultimate or a pick, but Rad have so much sustainability as well as mobility that by the time those health bars start falling low, they're already repositioned somewhere else entirely.
Oh, trust me, just poking in, reminding you can't forget about the Captain America. Going to be the first ultimate coming through from Harvey. It's going to be the God of Mischief, an attempt to try and convert here from Terra. It's of course going to be able to get easy resets off the back of these. Melania falls on down. Once again, the combination of the Endsong and Meteor M is the bookend to the album that all the EMEA fans have been waiting for. Trust me, heads towards the back, just carves through 100 Thieves. Sentinel strike after Sentinel strike hits their mark.
And the late picks to all of these staggers onto 100 Thieves means that potentially there's one more fight and then a TP recontest in this round before Rad are able to walk it with 100-0. They're going to be walking directly into a supernova as well, and they just burned the Meteor M, so they're not even going to be able to absorb it.
Worst case scenario here for 100 Thieves that Melania gets picked first. You don't want to have to swap off your Luna with Fate of Both Worlds to swap back over to a TP Mox.
I mean, Delana too. Delana and Vinny are going to be ideally looking for a combo with Feast of the Abyss as well as down to the Butterflies, but Rad are going to be doing everything in their power to prevent those two from sinking.
All right, Delana already under pressure. Now that's a primary target for Trust Me. Big bounces coming through. Over towards the end, look to Vinny here in the back. Already the Cellular Corrosion has been used, and that's going to be a God of Mischief coming out from the side of Rad to try and turn this one around. Crook for now uses the Ice Arts, wait before using the Fate of Both Worlds, but now it's going to be answering Melania's drive forward. It's Vinny's turn with a 40% damage boost. Still cannot find any finishing blows as it's good escapes thus far from Rad. Now it's Terra's turn towards the back. The strategist in their sights, but it's Melio from the back. It's the Phoenix, the Savior, the one to bring light to the dark universe that 100 Thieves wish to proclaim here on Clintar. Melania the next to go on down, the healing starting to fall away. Harvey is going to be able to false. Yes, oh no, never mind. Harvey's song is finished early by Rajaro. The Finn says you got to turn off your music on the bus, and they're going to be boarding the bus to map number 2 with a 1-0 lead. Surely returning with the portal, the pentagram of Farala. Terra climbs across the tree but is burned down by animal control, and Rad are in complete control of Clintar.
Yeah, the only way that portal recontest would have gone further than just a later pick onto the Doctor Strange was if one of the strategists still had their ultimates available. That is one of the problems when you have a flyer composition who wins the first fight and they have so much spam pressure, as well as the Captain America on their Vanguard lineup, because the Captain America, he's on the front line, he's on the sideline, he's in your back line. And unfortunately, if you're turning around to deal with that Captain America scouting out your Psylocke's not going to be able to create enough attention for the rest of the team to have to pivot, which means that Human Torch and the Phoenix, they're always going to be taxing your approach.
Yeah, there's a reason we've seen so many Captain America bans. He's an omnipresent force.
Yeah.
And trust me, he's doing a really good job of holding the cooldown on the Vibranium Energy Sword for when it's mostly, like getting that bounce onto Delano when they're escaping, essentially invisible, was unbelievably valuable on our first submap.
Yeah, I think also that the fact that they got forced onto the Captain America because the Venom got target banned last is actually quite good But trust me, because it means that if you see something like a Winter Soldier to come on through with that bionic hook, Captain America actually has an opportunity to be able to block it, as opposed to Venom, where you kind of have to hope that mechanically the hook isn't going to be able to hit its target. And when that Winter Soldier is Terra, I mean, those mechanics are going to be hitting every single time.
Yeah, but block's super valuable as well, because the bionic hook does not stop on contact with a player. It can roll on through and grab multiple people, so you can effectively body block for a more vulnerable player like a Luna Snow, who wouldn't have quite as many escape options as well. So maybe we see the Captain America taken off the table here.
A little bit like Citadel's target banning structure coming on through. Yeah, because Freedom Charge too, in comparison to Beast of the Abyss. Beast of the Abyss, great for the Venom player, not so great for the people that the Venom decides to munch on, especially if it is amped up by a Luna Fate of Both Worlds or a Mantis Damage Inspiration. But Freedom Charge for a Captain America and the rest of that team is so instrumental in being able to stall out those fights, especially on Domination, where a lot of the time that Freedom Charge can be the thing that allows you to outlive something like a Dance of the Butterflies coming from. We even actually saw that occur, right? There's one of those fights where Delena comes out with the Dance of the Butterflies, manages to catch on to Fate, who's behind cover, and that means that he's not on the path of the Freedom Charge and not getting that additional HP tick.
All right, for those of you who are tuning into our mid-season finals, your first time experiencing Ignite, here's how the series goes. The team that lost our previous map are going to be able to pick the next one from game modes that have not yet been played. So at the moment, that means both Convoy and Convergence. And then once again, it'll be the losers team picking after the next map. If 100 Thieves win, it'll be Rad's turn to pick, and they'll pick from the remaining map type, whether that's Convoy or Convergence. After map number 3, our call will open up again, Mox. But this means that there's a lot of strategies that you can have to try and take away your opponent's preferred map picks in this draft.
Yeah, Holla de Jalia, there's no way we're seeing it. I think if you're 100 Thieves, you're smart, you take us to a Convergence map so that you get it right out of the way. Potentially Central Park. It is still a very strong map for Jeff.
Yes.
So we might see the Jeff ban come through, especially because Rad have this horrible to fight into strategy on their defense, where they literally just hold almost essentially outside of your spawn on the attack, and they posture up with something like the Venom and the Jeff, and they tax you every single time you try and walk a little bit forward, and then you have to burn an ultimate, normally something like a Luna Fate of Both Worlds or a Cloak and Dagger's Eternal Bond, just to be able to situate yourself onto the point, which is always a rough one to be able to try and recover from.
Yeah, so maybe Symbiotic Surface would be the best option next to both Central Park and Hall of Jalia until later on in the series.
Less environmental positions for the Jeff too, if you want to allow it through the bans.
Yeah, and they've got longer sight lines where Delena can really flex those hit scan muscles. We know the Terra's been playing a lot of Phoenix Jean Grey recently as well, even though it was banned out during the previous draft. So maybe that's how they're trying to shape the compositions of 100 Thieves by forcing Terra towards something like that Wolverine, but they feel like they can deal with something like a Metallic Bulwark or something like a Regeneration Domain from the Loki, as opposed to just getting that constant peppering that we saw both Cal really punish them with from Envy, and Terra punish many teams with.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of ban drafts as well, we're not going to be seeing a lot of adaptation come through from Rad's side of the board. They had a very strong ban draft coming on through. Removing the Emma Frost was a stroke of genius. We were talking before the broadcast, you know, about the fact that usually it's the Emma and the Magneto that were the first to go in the opening stages, but now that we've moved over here, it tended to be target bans onto either the Human Torch or the Mantis, which then enabled other parts of the compositions to come on through. As Vanguards, they're very, very strong. All of them are really, apart from potentially Penny Parker and sometimes...
and maybe Thor.
Yeah, and Thor. A little bit of, unfortunately,
one day, brother, we shall have our day in the sun
to come on through.
Maybe Season 3.5 has changed that. I haven't had a chance to play yet. We flew out as the test server was going up. Please tell me that the... Please tell me if the changes worked.
Yeah, hopefully you're not just coping.
Thor top tier, 100%. Not a single ounce of cope here, Mox.
You might be on the Asgardian mead. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, catch me with that Asgardian mead after this LAN is over, you know, have a little decompress. Do you think that Naga has earned the respect on the Human Torch to cop a ban?
Maybe. I feel like if it's going to be a map like Central Park, absolutely, because that's probably Torch's strongest map. If it is Symbiotic Surface, then it's not quite as necessary, because a lot of that point is, you know, walled off by ceilings. So his movement is somewhat restricted in a flying capacity there, as we can have a look and see all of the statistics to come on through. Fate on the strategist roll, 46,000 healing. Level 1 Crook though surpassing that, 64,360. And also Harvey keeping up. It was just a matter of both of those Lokis were healing extraordinary amounts from their team. But on the side of 100 Thieves, they were constantly having to deal with their regeneration domains being forced early by either Captain America or just that insane pressure that both the Phoenix and the Torch bring to the table.
Yeah, but healing looked similar, but the big difference here was in the damage marks. Level 1 Crook pumped out about 22k to I think Harvey's 13.
Yeah.
That is a lot of additional healing that needs to be done. The slack that needs to be picked up that if it isn't, gets converted into knockouts.
Yeah, and I mean, Loki is insane in terms of damage potential. All of those doppelgangers being able to do damage also mean that the longer that your copies are up, the more damage that you're going to be able to do. As we can have a look at the replays, a lot of these are going to be from a bird's eye angle, as we did get to see a one-sided Human Torch make it all the way through those pick and bans, something that Rad instantly took advantage of.
Worth noting as well that there was no Primal Flame to buff up the Wolverine here from Terra due to that ban onto the Phoenix. Because we know that Delana can play the Jean Grey, actually has the skill set for that being the hit scan. And that could often mean that Terra can pick up one of these signature picks. I was surprised to see the Iron Fist come out temporarily from Terra, but I think that might have been more of a panic towards the end to get a last second touch.
Try and get a last second touch, and then you also have self-sustain with the meditation. You also have the block so that you can make it just a little bit longer as opposed to some of those other duelists who, when they're trying to hold the point so low, don't quite get the hero moment and topple over.
Rajro is one of our top fraggers as well. Some of the most knockouts delivered, those final hits found. I think we're sitting about 15 when I took a look at the stats, which was about equal with Naga. So Rajaro's got the aim working today, and an incredibly experienced player, has titled in other esports as well. So we expect big things from Rajaro, even though it's Trust Me who's leading a lot of the comms. It's often Rajaro who's there with the follow-up at the right time.
Yeah, I want to see some adaptation come through from 100 Thieves' side. It definitely feels like they wanted to try and go for a dive composition force coming on through in terms of the pick and bans that they had, but trying to deal with dive when you didn't have the Emma Frost. You're never going to get the Emma Frost, unfortunately, though, as there is just an insta-ban before you can go for a save, so it definitely feels like you have to then start weakening some of those components of a dive, and they did try to go for that, right? Taking out the Venom, leaving the Captain Americas. We're actually going to be seeing, ooh, that is a surprise, Central Park
maybe they've been watching the
to be coming through. Yeah, maybe they actually have a strategy to be able to avoid this, as you can't Doctor Strange portal past it because you can't use that portal of Ferala inside your own spawn. You have to go outside of it, which then means that you can just get CC'd and displaced by something like a Jeff bubble if you don't body block.
Jeff right click goes crazy. That's soft CC. Bounce you back inside spawn, turn it off. Which, this is interesting, because like you said, we see these early holds. This is an area where even Envy struggled against Rad. So I'd say this is a brave draft for 100 Thieves, and maybe they think of it because there's this precedence for the instant Emma ban that they might be able to get torched through.
They might be able to get torched through, but it's going to be a very interesting ban line coming on through for both of these teams. I wonder if Rad also were expecting to go to Central Park, or if they thought that they were going to be pulled somewhere like Symbiotic Surface, which would then have delayed the opportunity to be able to pick it on up, as we're going to be getting very shortly into our ban draft. And remember, for you all at home, these are one-sided, targeted bans coming on through. So if they target out something like that Human Torch from one side, they're still going to be able to potentially play it themselves.
Yep, you could sometimes you can pull the pro gamer move, ban something, then instantly protect it. Like, only we are getting access to this. Sometimes that happens a lot with Luna Snow, given that she is the premier strategist in the game.
Well, not just that. If you manage to get one-sided Luna Snow, it forces the enemies into having to ban out or weaken some of the things that Luna then enables, like the Psylocke, because then you have to go for Psylocke, Captain America as well, potentially, as well as an Emma. And speaking about Emma Frost, well, she's been melted on the spot. Rad instantly ban Emma once more.
All right, this is probably going to mean the Human Torch Protect is going to be available. Somehow it always happens on Central Park mocks, but that's the price you pay when you prioritize getting rid of Emma Frost.
Rad now going to be taking out that Lunar Snow, trying to force 100 Thieves into having less resources, as well as going for that one-sided Lunar pick that we talked about, as 100 Thieves are going to be starting to weaken out any potential triple strategist lineup. Both the Ultron and the Human Torch have been removed as, oh yeah, there we go. Rad are really going to be trying to force this Psylocke full pocket composition through, as that is a Psylocke save and Emma is still up as well, which means that Rad are going to be very happy with what that X-Men is going to be able to get up to in the backlines.
You know what? I'm a little bit more confident of 100 Thieves in this map. Did you see how quick those bans were? They came into this with a proper plan.
Yeah, they did, but Psylocke does historically incredibly well into flyers.
Yeah. Which could prove problematic. Still, there is going to be the Invisible Woman on the table for additional sustainability if Terra is going to be opting into it. Question is, what are we going to see Delana play here? Likely just going to be the Phoenix again, and it's going to be able to soften players up with those sparks to allow for a hot drop from Terra.
Yeah, I think 100 Thieves, they're going to be starting on the attack though. So they're going to have to be trying to get past some of these spawn holds, or maybe Rad mix it up and don't go for the spawn hold because they think it's a little bit too telegraphed, that strategy was out in the open for over multiple hours.
Yeah.
And coaches and analysts at this level are so quick at being able to counter-strat you that you just can't risk it.
Incredibly difficult to have consistent value from one of these strats. Only really Res comp has stood the test of time against that. A lot of others have been figured out quite quickly. But with Season 3.5, it's been solved by Guang Guang. So thanks, Guang Guang.
Yeah, you're very happy about that.
I am incredibly happy. I'm a certified res comp hater.
Yeah, you were like, I don't think it's that good, and then it turned into, I don't like casting this, because it is indeed just that good. Rad are going to be on that defense, 100 Thieves on the attack. There indeed is the prophesized Delana Phoenix coming on through with Terra on the Human Torch and Millennia. Even the Cloak and Dagger is open. It's going to be on the Pocket Sibling to make sure that Terra has a little bit of extra sustainability as Ultron was removed, and that's the best way to keep the Human Torch in the air.
No, I don't mind Naga being on the Star-Lord here. Can be such a brutal thing to try and deal with in mid-air. That hit scan tracking, we know that Naga's fantastic at it.
Too. And they know that the Human Torch doesn't have that immediate pocket with the Ultron, so you're not even going into a 1 versus 2. And that's something that Terra's going to be going into if Melio and Naga are able to combine their attention and take the Human Torch out.
You can see Vinny continues erecting these walls when you see Trust Me go in to try and waylay their path out and make the disengagement a touch more complicated, but with essentially unlimited jumps and dashes, but not too much of an issue. Maybe it's more to just try and cut off the healing coming on through. Terra falling low. You can see that team up once again getting the value. TTK afflicted with an anti-heal for a moment as the price of dark magic starts to run through their veins. Now it's Vinny's turn to move on forward. Up comes the Ironwood wall to try and block off some of that healing from the backside. Almost a fully charged Emma needs the backup of the Fate of Both Worlds to roll on fourth. 100 Thieves might absorb some of this aggression though, and that's going to be a strangling prison into the midst of all of this. The extra damage coming through from the copied over Fate of Both Worlds damage boost means that they can convert onto Melio. Still Fate hiding in the back. TTK reigns above it all, and Terra can't escape from all this. TTK was waiting too far away for too long and could not bring up the shield in time, an iframe to avoid the incoming CC, and TTK is punished for the audacity that was shown. An attempt to break LOS, but still Vinny falls for the feminine wiles of the Emma Frost. Down comes the end song. Doesn't seem to impact exactly what Delana wanted. 100 Thieves have used so much here, but gained nothing.
Yeah, and literally nothing was gained. Rad were able to bounce the point even with the pressure of the Grid and the Strange anchoring it, and don't give up a single tick percentage. They're coming into this next fight with Dance of the Butterflies. 100 Thieves are going to have to stack all of their players into it. Potentially Terra isn't able to get through in time as Supernova is on the cards. Rad don't yet have one of their strategist ultimates to hold on to it, so 100 Thieves can't wait that long before they engage, but that means that the Diver's already set up to hit the backline.
All right, we need to move fast into the regeneration domains. They're all broken down, though, by the Blaster Barrage. Great AoE play here. Terra knows that it's time to be a hero. Has to dodge away behind the brickwork. Melio flies on up, but becomes a little bit scared of a Charbroil, and it could be offered by one of those flame tornadoes. Still, Terra cowed into submission. One of the greatest opportunities to try and take this space has been wasted away, and I believe that Harvey or Kruk have been able to use their own ultimates here. Yeah, both of the Gods of Mischief have been popped. Additional usage of the Ice Arts is available as you roll on forward towards the back. Naga picks up a health pack of their own. Delane has been caught out by Trust Me. Away from the invisible boundary, Harvey almost falls down as they're isolated. A force physics to push away. Melio can't be converted upon just yet. It's a strangling prison onto one. Rajaro caught in space as Naga floats behind. Too wary of the approach of TTK. The Dark Maelstrom is too alarming to stay near to as Delana is finally returning, having given up the Phoenix, moving back more quickly on the Psylocke.
TTK is going to be coming in through with the Eye of Agamotto, but unfortunately for Rad, they don't have players to try and hold on to this one. It looks like it's going to be a teleport recontest coming in through from their spawn instead, but that means that they're going directly into the Eye of Agamotto if they're not careful. Regeneration domain had to be used to make sure that the landing was safe, and that opens themselves up after Fate's ultimate ends.
Towards the top, that's going to be 2 stuns delivered. Trust Me and Melio both going to be victims, so passive is taken out of a Wolverine, but Fate still there with all the healing from the Fate of both worlds. An extra damage boost, because it's just enough to try and get rid of Harvey in the back. Melio caught out midway through the ultimate. What a clutch from Vinny. Terra and Delana also going to be contributing as they look towards the Captain America. The yell of freedom echoes out throughout the central parts of New York as all look on in awe as freedom is broken this day by the criminal empire of 100 Thieves. Yeah, Crook gets a consolation, but that's all it's going to be as the cap is completed.
True, but unfortunately for 100 Thieves, they had to burn the Strangling Prison just to be able to take Trust Me down with the Freedom Charge in hand so that Rad were able to stabilize and organize a longer recontest. And that's burnt some of their ultimate economy. They don't have it to combine with Supernova in case one of the strategists is able to get their ultimates up in time. But level 1 Crook is going to be, well, investing a little bit of time in seeing the respawn room. However, Fate trades it back with pick onto Terra, and Rad think that they can still take this fight.
Fate's going to be solo healing. Going to make things a little bit more complicated here. Trust Me desperately needs to get some of that. Naga node towards the back line is so clean with the raw mechanics. And you know that Terra's coming from that off angle as well. Has for Supernova ready to go. Delana getting up close and personal, noting Naga's approach incredibly low. The flame cluster's avoided for now. And that's going to be a turnaround. 2 versus 1. Both of the duelists looked over onto Terra, taking down the carry when they knew that he could deliver on the damage. The Galactic Legend ready to go. Of course, they're just going to be waiting out the song that was sung here by the Lunar Snow inside of the invisible boundary. Naga just forced to disengage and give away some of that damage onto his targets who can't be locked onto.
Invisible boundary ends though, and Rad now have the better sustain. Level 1 Crook did burn that God of Mischief, is going to be holding on to the state of the copy as long as possible before we see the 12 seconds of Fate of both worlds, so they can keep eating up the space 100 Thieves have access to. A Carbon Crush comes onto Vinny to prevent the group from having the Strangling Prison combined with the Supernova, and the threat has been dealt with, and Rad hold on to the space for longer.
Unbelievable value from a spinning pick there as well. TTK might have trouble getting out of this one. Delena's disengagement was actually waylaid by what Rajaro brought to the table. TTK staggered.
Rad know that they have to be careful about how close they hold to 100 Thieves with the Strangling Prison and that Supernova combination, and they're going to be playing in separate pockets of space, so if that does come through, it's a minimum amount of players who are caught rather than the maximum.
Vinny has to choose his victim. For now, it's a little bit tempting coming through from Trust Me. Terra taken down, 26 seconds remain. Vinny once again charmed by Rajaro. A quick grip with the Carbon Crush, and they turn that tree into coal.
Oh, all of the split angles that Rad were playing on line up for a perfect 3-point dive connection from both the Cap and the Psylocke and the Star-Lord. And 100 Thieves have a whole 10 seconds left to be able to try and get onto that objective. It's going to be up to the dashes from Delana, the Psylocke ultimate to cover the Supernova too. And
they're not corporeal!
On top point! Because Delana isn't corporeal in his ultimate, and he's not able to cancel out of it early enough in time.
Only the shadowed whimpers of a once proud Shinobi's shadow over Ratatoskir. Terra must have been interceded upon on their way towards the mightiest of squirrels, but now no might from 100 Thieves has been seen. On their map pick, they only get the singular point and nary 60 meters.
Rad being able to pull it back with the amount of ultimates, plus that pick onto Terror on the Human Torch, as 100 Thieves had the better ultimate economy going into that first fight on second. But the Human Torch just swings out a little bit too far out in the open, and in that moment, Rad spot it like a hawk. And after that, all of the cards just keep pulling the defense's way.
Perhaps a singular misplay there from Delana. I'm not sure if he dashed up too high to trigger the overtime, or simply was a little bit too early with the channeling of the Dance of the Butterflies to have been within the threshold?
Yeah, I think it was really problematic because they caught him. They knew that he was on the rotation.
He was under pressure.
He had to burn all of his dashes because they had so little time. He had to go for his ultimate because he knew his health bar would start tanking. And then he had to try and cancel out of it early so that he would be able to be counted as contesting and overtime would hit. But unfortunately for 100 Thieves, that is not what ends up occurring, and now it's a matter of having to hold halfway through second if they want to be able to take their map pick. But as we've talked about, defensive Human Torch is stronger than offensive. However, 100 Thieves, they're not on Human Torch. Terror is on a fly, but it's the Jean Grey.
Yeah, giving up a Human Torch for now, noting that the pressure in the air from Naga was a bit too much to deal with, but now Melio is going to be focused in on the ground, trying to bully Vinny. The classic matchup of the Wolverine going up against the group. Trust Me demands attention, and while Terra's more than happy to give it a big grab through there onto TTK, the Cloak of Levitation unavailable, but Fate's Ice is more than available for TTK. I hope you enjoyed your visit. Now return to spawn. Of course, they are going to be able to portal back here, so 100 Thieves going for a full disengage.
Yeah, 100 Thieves trying to live behind that point. Rad not overextending, as it would mean that they get isolated off by the crew.
Wow.
But Melio's found another, and Vinny goes down.
The hospitality offered here by Rad is far from ideal. Fate and Croc in the back though. Terra gets a double. Oh, the carry may well have arrived finally. And now it's running on borrowed time for Rad. They've already got this one down. Harvey forced to use the God of Mischief to steal away the Eternal Bond.
Yeah, Rad are just disengaging. They force the Loki ult. They don't want to take the fight. However, they do lose players on the disengage, which means 100 Thieves buy themselves the space back. Rad can't turn into the fight after the Loki ultimate's done. They have to wait for the respawns to come on through. Galactic Legend can be used to break this hold as Melania close to their own Eternal Bond, but not having it in play. 100 Thieves need to buy a little bit of stall to have it built.
140 seconds or thereabouts on the cooldown of a portal to return as well. That might prove crucial later on if 100 Thieves mean to return. Delana watching the approach of Melio. Indeed, a lot of damage already been taken. Fate of both worlds going to be popped right here as Terra has to try and disengage. Quick psychic shift away. A solo usage of the Fate of the Butterflies. An impact as well from the end song. But with all of this sent on out, it's going to be Melio who tries to get a conversion here. Trust Me finally delivers a final hit. A little bit of extra rage gained as the Galactic Legend once again shall be written amongst the stars. And as I look across the cosmos, I see a coalescence of astral entities spelling out the name of Naga. And it's the name of Rad who are in lights right now as they manage to capture first point.
Oh, late pick though, goes down onto the Star-Lord, but 100 Thieves going to have to be regrouping incredibly quickly. They do have the better ultimate economy in this fight, but Rad were able to find the picks, clean the house, and now they have so much forward positioning up into second. We're potentially going to see one last fight if 100 Thieves don't manage to land this Eye of Agamotto. Delana is all the way behind them, however, has been able to scout out Wolverine, but he's now going to get checked by the Star-Lord and has to make it through and win the 1v1,
oh, wow.
and he does.
Only 60 damage taken as well. Second move forward onto Fate, unbothered, but frozen up. What a turnaround from Fate. And look at how far Ratatoska has already gone. As 100 Thieves were not brave enough to move up and try and intercede on its behalf. That's going to be already regeneration domains used. Moving forward, climbing the space with Eternal Bond.
It's the same play. Rad disengage after the Loki's been forced. 100 Thieves moving forward off of the Eternal Bond pressure that they have. But now Rad feel that they can take that fight. Inferno is going to be held for Terror as long as possible to prevent Rad's engagement and give 100 Thieves some stabilization. As we're in the last fight territory, 100 Thieves need to have a huge Eye of Agamotto follow-up because that's already regeneration domain forced.
And they've already got to move on forward. Terror's the one to try and keep that card contested. Delana over here on the Hela wants to stay at range to get maximum value out of a hit scan. 3 meters turn to 2, turn to 1, and no one's there. 100 Thieves find it stolen from under them as Rad dominates on the map pick of their opponents.
Yeah, Rad's just perfectly kiting out those Loki ultimates every single time that Harvey tried to come on through, give 100 Thieves a little bit of a path forward with the Eternal Bonds. They're able to just keep everybody alive, find a pick as well, understanding, anticipating that forward aggression, the momentum that 100 Thieves are going to find themselves propelled into. And when you're running a Wolverine and you're anticipating where those Vanguards are going to be playing from, especially if you can caught them out of that Eternal Bond, the pick potential is so high.
You see Melia right-click up towards that Phoenix as well to try and body block it? That's kind of crazy, bro. I mean, because he has the health pool with 350 to be able to tank that entirely. early and really minimize the damage to everyone else. Great heads-up play, but also delivering the damage to finally just take the end song off of the track player.
Yeah, and I mean that constant pressure too to make sure force regeneration domains that 100 Thieves didn't have the confidence to be able to hold the positions around corner, which would then have made that Eye of Agamotto, the threat of it, so much more potent because you don't want to get caught as you round that space into the Eye of Agamotto. Rad doing a very good job of ult tracking, understanding what 100 Thieves had access to. And remember, that fight started with them actually losing their Star-Lord, since Delena was able to come through and win the 1 versus 1, which should have meant that the backline was vulnerable. But Fate hits an absolutely clutch absolute zero, which absolutely turned the fight around for them, as all of a sudden a vulnerable backline turned into a bloodthirsty backline.
Yeah, the vulnerable backline was something like, oh, so we're free now. We're free! We're free from the terrors of Delena. Fate, the team captain, one of the youngest members of this team as well, one of the least experienced as Shirley, is showing off just how much potential he has here as both a leader, as an innovator when it comes to things like the Jeff, and just as a raw mechanical player, showing off things like those absolute zeros. And it seems like the strategy here for Rad of banning out the Emma, the Magneto, forcing 100 Thieves away from those comfort Vanguard picks and just deciding, you know what, we're just going to give the resources towards the Human Torch of the Star-Lord is really paying dividends.
Yeah, and it also kind of feels like they read 100 Thieves. They want them to play the Strange. They want them to play the Groot. That's why they're not target banning them, because then the Wolverine gets maximum amounts of value, because what's the Strange and a Groot going to do against a Wolverine? Well, probably see the insides of their spawn a whole heck of a lot, as it was really unfortunate for 100 Thieves, the amount of grabs that came on through, especially in the opening of those fights, but even over the Groot wall, he was able to find the pickup onto TTK to open up the fight at the very, very beginning of their attack.
But now, it's time to knuckle down. This is where Irumix earns his nade shot bucks. Got to try and figure out your bans. You've got to make sure this team is not tilting for big personalities on 100 Thieves, and they are not used to losing. Not like this, Mox.
No.
There's still the capacity for a reverse sweep. We've seen them more times than I'm comfortable with here at mid-season finals for Marvel Rivals Ignite. But 100 Thieves, their fate is only in their own hands as they face down Oblivion with Rad on match point.
Yeah, and Rad is somewhat of an unknown quantity for them as well. Like, we got to see them yesterday play up against Envy, and some of the rounds looked much closer than they have been today. But again, they've played Envy so many times because they're in the same region, as opposed to Rad, where the interactions that they've had has been here. Pretty much outside of the occasional scrim coming on through, as we can have a look and see all of our statistics coming
Melania was
on
shut out,
through.
man. 20.8k healing?
Yeah, Melania was indeed. I mean, you have to remember too that Groot walls also play a part in walling off your own backlines, LOS, if some of your Vanguards are being nabbed by Melio on that Wolverine. And it did mean that, you know, when Melio was able to find those grabs, a lot of the time what should have been pressure for 100 Thieves turned then against them.
I mean, admittedly, we did spend some time on the Invisible Woman as well to try and give that team up to Terra. His fate with the MVP, well-deserved, basically. Almost single-handedly started the flowchart of victory towards that last fight when Delena won that last all so thoroughly. They only lost 60 HP up against the Star-Lord, which is kind of unprecedented in a 1v1 of equal skill.
Especially when Star-Lord has access to 2 iframes and a Snowflake coming on through.
And a Snowflake.
And speaking about that Snowflake, 19 assists coming out from Fate, but 7 final hits.
Yeah, contributing.
Yeah, very much contributing in terms of numbers that Rad were able to output against 100 Thieves. As unfortunately for 100 Thieves, having the Invisible Woman trying to help out that Human Torch on the attack did somewhat neuter the effect that they had of things like the Loki copy in comparison to Rad, who immediately have access to a Luna, where you literally just comms your Luna, hey, I'm looking for my ultimate, can you give me ease of access?
Yeah, you can see just how aggressive one of the little stairs was right there. Look at this evasion here, by the way, from Naga. And that actually baits Terra in to a point where Melio and Naga can get the 2 versus 1. And it feels like Rad always kind of, they were tugging on the 100 Thieves leash, you know. They're like, come on, a little bit closer.
They were doing a little bit of baiting, especially when it came to holding first as well. Well, we got to see a lot of the time the Solid and the Psylocke, but one of them would get a little bit low, a little bit vulnerable, and Terra would have that voice in the back of the head like, yeah, I can get this. I can find want that pick, and then unfortunately, when you try and go for that, it's only after you bite off too much more than you can chew that you realize that it is Rad just baiting you.
Yeah. There's the finisher right there with Melio coming up to meet the end song, just like Logan would IRL, or in the comics, I suppose. Like, I'm coming, Genie. I'll save you from that Phoenix. It's been lights out for Rad. Like, they are looking so clean today and winning mechanical duels against Terra and Delena.
Yeah.
Like, they are eyeing up that best of 7 grand finals, and they want to get there. They don't just want to get there hot, you know? They don't want to come in time, finish it out 3-0 nice and quick. And for EMEA, they're certainly being made proud right now.
Well, if it is going to be a 3-0, that does mean that we're going to be seeing now the next map type coming through. It's going to be Convoy, and it's going to be Yggdrasil Path that Thieves decided to take us on over to. Potentially now we're going to definitely see that Mantis and Ultron get removed from play because triple strategist holds.
Yeah.
On Yggdrasil Path, no one has a fun time attacking into those.
Yeah, unideal. This is going to also allow a lot more space for Terra to continue working on the Jean Grey. We have seen some attempts at clutches from the Jean Grey. I mean, the only reason the 100 Thieves managed to hold as long as they did on Central Park was because somehow Terra managed to convert a double strategist KO in the back line and just make sure that everyone had to disengage because there was no more healing available.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good Hela map. It's a good Psylocke map as well, so Delena's hero pool is going to open up as well. Wolverine also incredibly strong if we see a 2-2-2 composition come on through. Some teams like going for the Star-Lord as well, so that you can utilize those iframes and manage to break around corner, put pressure on the defenders so that they have to back up and give up that space. And speaking about backing up and giving up that space, Wolverine fastball. I love that there is a very niche strategy that a lot of these teams actually utilize. If you yourself have a duo that you want to go and stack with, you just have them play either the Thing or the Hulk at the very beginning of the round, grab yourself a Wolverine, chuck him into the backline of the defense, and watch as they turn around and scurry, giving up all of that space for the rest of your team to be able to walk forward without having to get burned as you try and break around a corner.
Mox, I think it's time to stop allowing Loki Luna to exist for free. Because we are seeing the protect onto the Luna, but 100 Thieves are kind of just letting Loki fly unscathed through the ban process, and there's a reason why this was the most banned strategist line of all of Ignite.
True, but I feel like Fate is really, really strong on the Luna, whereas level 1 Crook can play the Loki, but is more leaning towards other heroes when it comes to wanting to actually play them, as well as being able to flex over to it. As we've seen Fate having the Idle Aura, also having the Fate of Both Worlds, which is probably one of, if not the strongest ultimates in the entire game, for the amount of healing that you get, for the potential damage boost as well that you can flick over to, plus the fact that it almost outlasts every single strategist ultimate with the exception of Cloak and Dagger's Eternal Bond, given the fact that there's a separate timer for every single one of those dashes. As we can have a look and see our wonderful crowd, these cosplayers have been absolutely insane. They've been in a different costume every single day almost, by the way, which is crazy to see the amount of effort and love that they have for all of their characters.
Yeah, we've had a crazy rotation. You got a picture of a fantastic Dr. Doom.
Yes, the Dr. Doom was
awesome.
Armor. There was a 4-2 with a Mjolnir that when you hit a button, it would light up and had sound effects.
I'm worthy.
I am worthy,
it was
brother.
It was Chunky Thor from Endgame as well.
It was.
I like that Thor.
It was so nice, and he also had the little charm with the Loki and 4 Chibi that he has in the skin that they had in the summer.
But for Lunchbox with like the little action figures in it. So cute. Yeah, our cosplayers here in the stadium have been amazing. But let's hope that maybe 100 Thieves can get a little spark of amazing in them here as they fight for their tournament lives at the mid-season finals of Marvel Rivals Ignite.
There's the adaptation that we wanted to see. Target banning out the Luna so that Rad don't get one-sided Luna Snow. No surprises that Emma Frost is also going to be up on the chopping block as the weather forecast has come in, Harry, and it looks like it's going to be, well, as hot as it is in Guangzhou. No snow, no frost today.
All right, Captain America taken away. 100 Thieves are just saying, you know what, all of these things, they were too much. I don't like them anymore. I'm scared, but I want to go home. Get them away from me. Magneto is going to be protected, making sure that once again, Rad can't yoink away the most effective Vanguard line that they love to play.
Well, speaking about being yoinked, Johnny has been yoinked for 100 Thieves to have, as Human Torch has been banned out. Something to note is that Rad saved the Mantis, which is now going to force 100 Thieves to either burning a ban on Ultron or Adam, or potentially taking away some of the things that they could enable. Human Torch is going to get removed from Rad's N2.
All right, Jean Grey goes away. Terror too scary. Question is whether or not we'll see the Psylocke go away once again, but we have seen a multitude of bans come through from Rad. They're very intelligent when it comes to adapting mid-cycle against what's being built by the other team.
There's the save onto Harvey's Loki, as Rad are going to be removing Luna. It was going to be a 50-50 for 100 Thieves. Whether or not they saved the Luna, whether or not they saved the Loki, whichever they didn't, would have been left to the Wolves for Rad to take off the table, as Venom is going to be protected for Rad. And you know what? It's the second Jeff the Landshark ban coming out towards Fate, now that they'd also removed his propensity to be able to play the Luna Snow.
Yeah, a devious smile on the face of Melee, potentially a bait being laid down there by Trust Me, saying, yeah, you know what? You don't want to deal with a symbiotic shenanigans, so I'm going to protect Venom, and then you must ban Jeff, or you are going to face the Chompers.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like if anyone would know about bait, it would be Jeff the Landshark and his fishy heritage, as we're going to be definitely seeing No It's Jeff 4 hits on Yggdrasil Path today.
All right. One last attempt for 100 Thieves. Their fate in their own hands. We know how much talent is on this roster. We know that they've grinded for so long and so hard, Nox. But if they can't get it together for this Yggdrasil Path, their run ends here and now.
100 Thieves were able to get most of the heroes that their players have comfort in, though, as Delana on that Psylocke is going to be trying to control all of these potential lanes. Rad going to be starting right now with Melee on the Black Widow, just trying to catch someone a little bit unawares with a one-sided Mantis damage boost before swapping on over to the hero of choice, which is going to be that Psylocke.
All right, going to be double Cloak and Dagger ultimates for both sides, as Eternal Bonds are going to be flowing thick and fast here.
100 Thieves with both the Psylocke and the Winter Soldier going to be trying to keep an eye on all of those inside angles, as Rajara is forced to burn all of that Diamond Form because of the Bionica coming in through from Terra's End. But that convoy is still moving forward until now. In comes Naga with the Wolverine grab, and that's the trade of the Vanguards for both teams.
No chance to save TTK, and you can see that the regeneration of members already burned as well. Naga sent into the midst of 100 Thieves, and yes, there is going to be a passive burn, but there is going to be the follow-up from Rajaro. Vinny was going so deep to try and convert upon the Wolverine, but Rajaro is more than happy to punish that one. 100 charge down, you can see they're just going to be sipping on Harvey's doppelgangers.
Fate's ahead too in the cycle of Eternal Bond building in comparison to Millennia, which means 100 Thieves don't have a strategist ultimate to burn to navigate this choke for free and try and contest that convoy before it starts rolling into second, and that's so unfortunate. The strange portal from Vinny is out of sync with that convoy rolling on through, and 100 Thieves now are going to be down a teleport and down a Vanguard as they're forced to give up even more space.
That was an opening pick onto Melio as well. Got to be a bit of a heartbreaker, maybe a tilter for 100 Thieves. 5 minutes is quite the hefty time bank heading into B. Already you can see the God of Vengeance has been used. God of Mischief is going to be turned into an Eternal Bond. That's a lot of space claimed away. Extra damage coming through from the Feast of the Abyss. Terror takes towards the skies, and there's a desperate attempt to try and shut it on down here as 100 Thieves are going to move forward with Melania's Eternal Bond. Melio summons in some reinforcements here, but the Lender's already got themselves a little bit of an advantage. Rod to Stern hits a headshot and silences the most devious voice in Asgard as it's cleaned up here for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Fate's path with the Eternal Bond had to be further away from the team and out of line of sight of TTK, who does have that Meteor Arm, which meant that the Cloak and Dagger was not there to contribute either a Terror Cape or a Light Force Veil, so that Rad's players would be able to have better benefit of the Sustainer afforded to them. Rajara is going to be able to open up this next fight, though, and that space with the Sonic Seduction, so 100 Thieves can either knuckle down and try and live it with Vinny's Freedom Charge, charge or give up the space and fight at another time.
Trust me, opting for a change here. Over to the Magneto. I think that they can win out the brawl because they have access to the Emma. Frost taken away from 100 Thieves. Quick grab, and Delane's already been 1v1'd here by Melio in the back. And of course, that's the advantage of that team up. Freedom charge is once again proclaimed by Vinny. Far from America, but Brooklyn's always in the heart of Steve Rogers. To the sky goes Terra, and they lay down upon Melio, but inside of the regeneration domain, all the damage means nothing. Rotterstern cannot convert upon the Kraken impact. The yells of again will not be profaning the ears of Rad this day as the goats continue to roll forth.
Still having that psionic seduction too to stop 100 Thieves from having any form of momentum. Early Loki ultimate comes on through from Harvey's end. Delana comes on through with the dance of the butterflies, managing to find a pick onto the Phoenix before the Eternal Bond dashes, but TTK can't find the cloak and dagger to stop the ultimate from lasting.
Yeah, a lot of space already has to be given away here by 100 Thieves, courtesy of that Terror. Kate and Melania taken down by the Eternal Bond itself. The ground itself hostile to the ambitions of 100 Thieves for the moment, as they manage to isolate the lane of Vanguards fleeing elsewhere, too scared of Sonic Seduction. It's Vinny in the back with very little HP to try and work with, no freedom charge either. And you can see that Fate right now is just speculating in the tunnel to try and stop the movement forward. Terror makes it to the cart just in time, but is overwhelmed in a war. Oh no! They haven't been able to contest in time!
Yeah.
This is ruinous for the ult economy.
Yeah, Melania isn't counted as contesting, is too far away with the Eternal Bond dashes. And unfortunately, that means that they're now down that ultimate into the next one. Rad get one-sided Eternal Bond as Harvey isn't even anywhere near the God of Mischief, which at least allows Trust Me to hold on for the Meteor M, but that means that Melio, the value of the stance of the butterflies is so large. 100 Thieves have to just stall this fight coming on through with the Captain America to give them any chance of building an ultimate to match what Rad have right now.
The beacons are lit, but can 100 Thieves hold out until the remainder of the Marvel Universe comes to aid them dance of the butterflies available in the back? A force out here. Oh, Trust Me with a double, and it's Naga with a third. 100 Thieves are reduced to only 3. Make it 2 as Terra tries desperately to avoid him. TTK stands alone. 1 Thief remains.
Terra might actually just get solo ulted by Melio with the dance of the butterflies to just shut down the Kraken impact. No, he's off of the Winter Soldier. Rad had too much space to be able to live it. He's onto the Wolverine for the passive. Just have an extra lease of life as here comes the Eternal Bond from the Loki. TTK's trying to shut it down. He finds level 1 Crook, but 100 Thieves have to find so much more to turn this around.
The kid of a top tier is finally becoming a full-grown man, an adult with on the rollers. Terra finds himself Rajara as well. The Vanguard line is disassembled, and 100 Thieves hold for now.
100 Thieves do burn the Loki and the Captain America ults for it, though. Terra's going to have a last stand. Rad not going to have one of the strategist ultimates to get carried on away from, but that means that Delana with the Dance of the Butterflies can be brutal. On the other hand, Melio's in the same position, but he's facing down an Eternal Bond, which Melania can use to keep 100 Thieves nice, safe, and secure through it.
A missed grab and an expended usage of a metallic bulwark here mean that 100 Thieves are down on some resources they really wish they'd rather have. Still, Rajara having used that diamond form. All comes into the calculus for flowchart of a Marvel Rivals fight. Terra going to go for yet another attempt here as Vinny distracts towards the back. Once in, onto the Loki. Level 1 Crook can't even get away. Summoned a doppelganger, but all they find is doom at the hands of 100 Thieves. Delana and Terra both invest, but they find themselves reaping the dividends.
Yeah, 100 Thieves read the Rad gameplay. They knew it was going to be a poke fight coming on through from the attackers until Fate had his ultimate. So Delana goes in first before Rad have the resources to live it, and they're able to catch on to that Loki. However, they've delayed the problem. This now is the problematic fight that they have to turn and test too, as Rad have the better ultimate economy, and we're 2 fights away from a full push.
A fight that was earned and a fight that shall certainly be delivered upon. Melania already down. Harvey going to be the next upon the docket. You can see already there's been a burning of the regeneration of the main taking to the sky. TTK, he hits the tree, but that's not a group. It's simply part of the environment. Yes, there's going to be a momentary stall coming through from 100 Thieves onto the cart. The goats stand stock still rather than moving towards Yggdrasil. But now the tapping must be stopped as Naga rolls on forward. The end song playing again and again in his head as he asks, what is that melody? Is it is it a funeral dirge for the defensive 100 Thieves? It would seem that Melania disagrees inside the Eternal Bomb. There's plenty of damage and plenty of healing to be done. A sharing out of damage as Sarah falls on down. The end song played to Logan, specifically 200 years old. He doesn't know what a CD is. They're trying to overtake here onto Vinny, who manages to drag themselves away and keep that freedom charge in the back pockets.
100 Thieves only feeling pressured now to utilize it with all of those sparks being built on up. Rad having a little bit more time are going to try and disengage as 100 Thieves. They remember the last time they chased with a strategist ultimate, they burn off too much more and they're going to fall back and wait instead of overextending.
The Dance of the Butterflies once more, ready to be summoned, thousand-folded steel in the hands of a shinobi to try and burn through the onlys that Rad are presenting. TTK stacked up with sparks and Harvey plays close to the door. He's ready to exit at a moment's notice, but TTK is going to be playing his own exit music right here, playing them off the stage, and Melania is going to be taken off of this one. A knockout delivered, and Terra's too far gone. Vinny's here trying to make something work and keep the cart contested, given over the metallic bulwark for a moment of extra life. Gripping to it so desperately, vitality is all that they can hope for. Vinny could be overwhelmed here, as it's going to be the Sonic Seduction already used. Elena TTK falling elsewhere. Vinny returns to the fray. The Cloak and Dagger here too, but Naga's ready to reign above it all. An imperious T-pose of the Phoenix establishes dominance on 100 Thieves.
Rad able to find the strategists. Harvey was so close to that God of Mischief.
So
it could have
close.
been curtains for Rad if that had been able to come on through with a copy onto an Eternal Bond. But they have the target focus. All of their players converge on one specific player, bit by bit removing all of those pieces from 100 Thieves board and stopping any potential for getting held on third.
It all comes down to this attack, Mox. And then rounds after that, 100 Thieves. They slowly feel their chances slipping away from them.
Oh, but those heroes, well, that's slightly different to what we saw from Rad previously. They got res comp for the ban drafts, as 100 Thieves did. Burn the Jeff over the Adam Warlock and that Mantis. And that means that this stall composition is going to be burning out a lot of the time bank if 100 Thieves aren't able to just push the res out of its momentum cycle.
TTK, on your screen, one of the younger players, one of the newer players, the only controller player left here in Marvel Rivals Ignite of a top tier, maybe a top 3 team in the world, but they could still go farther yet. Rad stand on the precipice with Volcano Summit, ready to dive in and face Envy if they can only achieve victory here, defending Yggdrasil Path.
Yeah, no triple strategist, triple Vanguard lineup defense. However, Vinny on that grid is going to be problematic for the Adam Warlock to have to deal with. Trust me. Also on that Venom, has to be careful he doesn't go too far in towards Terror on the Winter Soldier, but Terror's already been taken down.
It's actually too far forward. Maybe there were some assumptions made, thinking that there'd be more support than there was. Trust me, has to use the symbiotic resilience, but it's all part of a game plan for the Venom, Mox.
We're on to Wolverine. Delana over to the Hela, the hit scan. Not going to get pressured by Rad's dive early on, potentially also utilizing that Soul Drainer to grab Trust Me back. Dagger Dome gets invested from 100 Thieves to start walking around the corner, but that's just the first stage of the fight against the res composition. The regeneration domain already got forced by the Venom dive, but Trust Me is going lower and lower and lower, and he finally goes down.
It's Delana at range on the hero that we all started to know Delana for, the hit scan goddess of Hela, and the god of death is able to celebrate this day as TTK expands their domain with 2 more sacrifices.
Brilliant cutoff as well coming in through from Vinny, right to the backs of Rad so that they couldn't run away from that one. Naga on the Star-Lord though, Melia's going to go for the self-revive, and Rad is still going to make this time fight cost.
Okay, Crook revives himself in the back. You can see that Fate is hiding out. Or Melia, rather, I believe.
Yep.
It's going to be round the back, waiting for that Karmic Revival. It's just going to be using the passive ultimate charge form now. May throw out a live stream or 2. Trust me, waits for the opportune moment to chomp on through. The damage is barely even considerable here as Harvey uses the God of Mischief within their own domain. The Asgardians are ever more powerful. Rajaro can't quite deliver, but the delivery here of damage could be everything onto a strangling prison. Level 1 Crook of Rajaro fall down, but it's Melia in the back. Once again, the Karmic Revival for healing is going to be there from Fate as well. It's going to be a fully charged re-engagement here. Naga falls down, but guess who's back yet again? It's the yo-yo of life and death as they move between this plane and the next. An attempt by Naga for a blaster barrage, converting upon the damage, but Delana reigns over it all on a throne of bone.
100 Thieves just looked so much more disciplined in that fight. Rad thought that 100 Thieves would push into the space where Comic Revival were, tried to burn the Galactic Legend to punish in case, but 100 Thieves, they knew as long as all of the players from Rad were behind the point, they weren't contesting it. The rest comp was forced to walk into the setup of fire that Delana and Terra had already established, and we go into second with 100 Thieves looking so much stronger in the first time for these rounds.
Reinvigorated, perhaps a word from the coach, perhaps Melania, the assistant coach in the lobby themselves, has been able to deliver on this. Already level 1 Crook falling down to half. Naga finds himself an off angle here to continue pressuring Vinny. It's going to be the Venom into the midst of all of this. Naga kidnapped away, a quick sidekick shift, and the Metallic Bulwark is not enough because guess what? It's always the backstop. What a standout performance so far from Delana. Piercing Knight into the midst of Rad, and Delana is absolutely popping off. A god of aim before your eyes I am witnessing.
Canonical Law, I feel like, is that Heller on Yggdrasil Path is able to just get such a power spike, and Delana truly is the goddess of death herself right now. Rad are going to have one more opportunity to try and contest, but it's through a small hallway. If they want to have that better position for the Venom dive to begin, they've got to burn space, and 100 Thieves have a little bit more room to breathe as Trust Me falls once more.
Trust Me already fallen down lane is make sure there's plenty of healing available for a remainder of 100. Thieves are already down on Terra. Once again, it's down to Delana. You ask for a carry, and I'll give you Vinny a double wall, and on top of it, a spicy meter ball. They've mothered their last Mia on this defense. Rad still have the healing delivered by Fate here with the Eternal Bond, and the bubble as well means there's plenty of sustain, even with the Strond Crow after the Strond Crow being delivered. The damage can't quite break through. It's going to be the Vanguards making it onto a point. Terra's there with a greeting. Up comes the Regeneration Domain, and part of it's on point here as well. But a second Eternal Bond is so much additional sustainability. TTK on the sticks. He's mad with the rollers, delivers iron volley after iron volley, and I feel a metallic victory coming on for 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves, so much momentum as well. Rogera is going to have that Psionic Seduction to try and stall them, as they do not have ultimates into this next fight. Terra is going to be the closest with that last stand, but Rad can simply outspace it in anticipation of the Wolverine. What they can't outspace, though, is the damage coming on through from Delana. If they try and give up the angle for the Hela to hold, that convoy keeps rolling for uncontested.
POV on Delana's damn right now. And TTK. We can see Trust Me is actually a little bit too far up, potentially. Actually, Melio in the back's already taking so much damage, requires the Metallic Bulwark, and it's used many of their cooldowns.
Fate's so close to the Eternal Bond. Level 1 Crook, the God of Mischief. Psionic Seduction comes on through, but 100 Thieves can build their own, and that's going to be a huge silence combined with the Meteor M from TTK to stop Rad from getting any space off at the back of it.
Can't convert, though, on that Meteor M. And now it's going to be a big grab coming through on Melio. Eternal Bond rolling forward, an attempt to try and break off all of the LOS. Out comes the final stand, I believe, from Terra. But all they've done is taken a bunch of damage themselves. Terra capable flicks multiple members of Rad, and that means it's an easy follow-up for Vinny. That's going to be a Soul Drainer, taking away the will to survive from Rad, the will to defend. It's going to have to be reinforced by an Eternal Bond, this time coming through from Fate. Melania tried to counter out, but Trust Me was more than ready. Terra finds himself taken down. The soil will claim them back once again. Down below their feet is an ever-burning acid laid down by Rad. Their caustic exteriors, too much for mere criminals to deal with. The end song sounds out once again as Naga heralds a finish to this push.
Rad stacked so close as well. They're going to have another God of Mischief in a matter of moments as they're still finding these picks. 100 Thieves forced to back up all the way almost to their spawn to stop the bleeding of their time bank. Still got a lot of time, however, to play with, Harry, as level 1 Crook with the God of Mischief has to worry about TTK's potential with this Meteor M.
Trust Me. Stinking away for now. An exchange between these Magnetos has often been the story that changes how these fights go.
100 Thieves having to hold on to the Meteor, knowing that level 1 Crook is going to be forced to hold on to the God of Mischief, same in turn. Soul Drainer from Delana, not going to be able to find the connection, but does stop Melee from moving on forward and making off with a Vanguard.
This corner, so difficult to try and get past, taking to the skies. using the Meteor M. Down come for a generation. The mains multiple players lane on low. Archero is converted upon here by Delana. But now it's return of Trust Me. And he's got quite the plan for this one. Still, it seems that he's dragged into the midst of all the 100 Thieves. They gather around like piranhas, taking wallets, passports, and all and sundry. Naga once again found by Delana. And this angle from the Hela has been absolutely brutal to deal with. What is this? What? Melio gets two! Both Melania and Delana, and that's really going to blunt the momentum.
Oh, the combination. Fate with the huge terror cape to blind 100 Thieves from what was being set up in front of them. The Wolverines able to find it through. Psionic Seduction from Rajara from the top ropes, reclaims high ground as well as low as they fall from it, and 100 Thieves are losing control of the situation.
Oh, they've lost control of it, that much is for sure. Taking out Harvey early meant there was no healing to work with, and 100 Thieves are back to the drawing board.
They're going to have to use ultimates. There's 10 seconds left. Vinny's onto the Doctor Strange for a portal to potentially give an off angle so that Rad can't just box them in as they walk from spawn.
Rolling forward, Trust Me, already falling low, but look at all the reliable healing coming through from the Loki. Has got excellent safety. For all these doppelgangers, it's going to be very difficult to dislodge from this place, and realizing they can't work against this portal. As an effectively immortal shield, they give up a little bit of space. Level 1 Crook, noted. Might have to swap over to a different doppelganger here. Melio's already fallen on down, holding a fire from Delana, not wishing to charge up the Meteor M. And the reliable shield of Vinny, once again, is raised in defense of 100 Thieves. A big dream here from TTK, but they're simply not that kid. It's a man's game here as you let loose on the Meteor M, and Harvey's already down. A sentient seized, a victory claimed. 100 Thieves are running too low on members, but Delana says that I'll get the resurrection and bring Harvey back. Melio's down as well. Vinny stands as a stalwart statue, refusing to fall. Towards the back, it's Naga. Harvey once again taken down. Delana could be a hero here, but they're running out of chances, they're running out of members, and they're running out of hope. 100 Thieves, all they had was Delana, but Rad has everything, and Rad has a ticket to the finals!
EMEA are confirmed either 2 or 2nd. When it comes to overall placements, they will be seeing themselves a rematch between Envy, and it feels so fitting that we started our very first day with the play-in stages coming down to Rad and Envy, and we'll end the day with a huge grand final best of 7 between NA and EMEA to determine who truly is the top dog of all of the regions in Marvel Rivals Ignite right now.
Both coming from play-in, say your power rankings could not have been more wrong. A heartbreaker here for 100 Thieves. They're going to top out at 3rd. Even with having their substitute of Melania in, they made it remarkably far. But Rad, this absolute cerebro machine of a team, some of the smartest players that we have seen in the game to date, managed to steal it away in a 3-0 sweep.
I mean, 100 Thieves, though, they looked so clean when they were going into the res composition. And it does feel like they wanted to leave the res composition on the board because they knew how to be able to play into it. If you want to know, I mean, is it really worth talking about? If you want to be able to counter res composition at home, you should be able to do this because it's not in the game anymore for all of you all at home. But one of the ways that you deal with a sustained composition, which is literally meant to outlast you, is that you go with something that can find instant picks. And Hela is one of the best ways of being able to do that because those 2 taps can come on through. You find the pick, even if the reses are up, you force them out early as that fight is only just beginning as opposed to halfway through. So your team still have the resources of being able to match wits with what the res comp can bring. And it really felt like we were going to go to that 4th map at the end when Delana comes on through, finds that Ragnarok revival onto Harvey, and it feels like that hell is just going to be the hero of the hour, but unfortunately, Rad have the harder ultimate economy, they've got the closer respawns too, and 100 Thieves had to burn the Strange TP as well.
Yeah, having to burn a Strange TP for that first recontest was kind of a heartbreaker. Even if it meant that Vinny was there at the right moment to use the Shield of Seraphim to block a fully charged Magneto ultimate. Still, for the side of Rad, they absolutely popped off. They level 1 Crook being able to set up all their doppelgangers on the back, on that sort of like back veranda, means it's so difficult to do the admin to get rid of those.
Yeah, and then as well, you've got all of them set up for Devious Exchange escape tricks. Two, if you feel yourself getting a little bit too pressured and you're so far into your own team space that there's no way that the rest of the team can really try and push up and punish the Loki when that one's on cooldown. Rujaro 2 of the Sonic Seduction, given the fact that they had to burn that ultimate immediately to just lay stake to the high ground and then be able to drop to the low without worrying about losing one of your players as gravity finds the connection.
I mean, I'm just so impressed by how clean Rad were today. Showing off different looks as well. I wonder if we're going to continue to see this Emma ban move forward into their matchup against Envy, because Kaluch certainly is an absolute terror on the Emma. Usually we see a lot of precedence in the bans towards like trying to shut down Speedily and that Flyer Prime hero pool. Getting rid of the Human Torch first, I think, is still going to be a priority.
Yeah.
But maybe you force an Emma first protect as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're Envy, 100% Envy are in the stands. They've been watching, they've been seeing how exactly Rad and 100 Thieves have been interacting so that they would be prepared for whoever their opponent was going to be. And having seen that prioritization of Emma Frost definitely might lead them towards an Emma safe if the Human Torch is the first thing to go.
Yeah, I think that they're taking the notes, you know, the gators out there, running through the million scenarios, Doctor Strange style, 14 million and 6 scenarios, and yeah, this is the one where we protect Emma and we win. But Envy thus far they've been challenged, but they are yet to be bested. Their closest challenge was right at the beginning of their bracket up against Citadel, which was a 3-2, although they kind of swept that one back the second they realized that they could just ban Captain America and things became a lot easier. And you know what, Captain America might be another high priority ban, because trust me, it's been getting some real value out of that as well.
Yeah, I feel, especially if you get Emma Frost taken away from you, it's probably going to be better to take out the Captain America than the Venom, as Venom is just a moving hitbox. Unfortunately, though, it does become a little bit harder to deal with this if Mantis is in the field, because one of the things about if it's a Luna combined with a Venom, at least when the Fate of Both Worlds comes through, you know in that 12-second, at some point, that Venom's ultimate is going to be coming on out, so you can have your strategist backline split apart so both of them don't get caught in the crossfire, as opposed to a Mantis where you don't know if that Venom has Mantis damage boost until the hit comes through and it's a lot larger than it should be.
You're like, that hurt a lot. Damn. I mean, those damage boosts can really change so many of the breakpoints, and the internal calculus. It also disrupts your comms a little bit as well, because you've got to continually try and take advantage of that. Here's a quick look at how our scoreboard shook out for our final match of the lower bracket finals.
Yeah, Delena coming on through 35,000 damage done. Ooh. Really did, like, that Hella round looks so strong. You can see why he was known for that hero at the very beginning of Season 0, as unfortunately for 100 Thieves, even with their premiers, Terra on the Wolverine, Delena on the Hella, and TTK for a little bit of time too, getting such a good setup synergy with Vinny on the Groot, with the wall-offs to lead into the Magneto's Meteor M. It's not every day that we see Meteor M get a double, but when you have that level of synergy and you can grab as many players of Rad as you do, that's always going to be finding value.
I mean, Fate just managed to do so much, and is that 3 MVPs in a row for level 1 Crook on the Loki? I was saying that maybe...
Fate had Central Park on Luna.
Well, it does seem like, for Rad, their strategists, I don't want to say strategist gap, but I'll leave it up to the audience.
Yeah, 53,000 heals coming on through, 29 assists as well as 7 final hits coming on out from that Loki with an accuracy of 62%, which again, Loki tends to be firing off every single possible second that you can. You're either healing your team or you're damaging the enemy off of all of that splash. That's why a lot of those Lokis actually aim their primary down at the ground so that they can get the most amount of distance onto the most amount of bodies, as opposed to trying to go for either a headshot, which you don't get crits, so as Loki you're kind of wasting your time there, or going for a little bit of a harder target to hit, one of the narrower, slimmer waist.
Yeah, remember guys, if you're trying to get better at Loki at home, doesn't actually have any benefit to a direct hit. It's 100% spell field damage. So if you hit the floor near your target, it still does 40 per projectile, which is a considerable...
Or the wall. That's the way that you get around trying to heal flyers. That's why actually Loki is really bad at healing flyers. One of the go-tos if you're trying to force the flyer composition from your opponent is to force them onto a line of Loki.
Yeah.
As he's very bad at being able to mechanically aim at the flyers in the skies. You have to be incredibly precise with your hits.
I wish it had gone on a little bit longer. Really felt like Delano came alive and showed that they have just as much carry potential as Terra at the end of this series.
Yeah, these shots were brutal here.
That's crazy. Like, on the stage, just being able to do so much work. And TTK had a great performance as well, but Rad, they're just lights out. And they're going to be going into a finals here, warmed up but not tired.
Yeah, that is crucial for them too, because it is potentially going to be 7 maps or more if we end up having a draw on one of our convergence points, which is possible if you either both get full held on your first attacks, or if we go into overtime and then you get full held in those rounds too.
Yeah, it's brutal to look at, but both of those were the picks of 100 Thieves as well over on Central Park and Yggdrasil Path. So maybe we haven't even seen exactly what Rad want to run yet if they have a bit of a back foot against Envy. And it felt like Rad actually struggled the most on domination, where usually they're doing a really good job of keeping that point contested for as long as possible. I guess that was reflecting how long both of our first fights were.
Yeah, those first 2 fights were pretty brutal. Almost a whole movie's length, which I feel is very fitting for a Marvel Rivals game. Some would say yes, cinema.
Everyone knows the action. Yeah, notice that Loki's summer skin at the end. It's kind of like cinema. I loves it.
Hopefully we get an absolute cinematic grand finals. I really do feel like these two teams have that potential to go the distance between each other, but you know what we also get, which is going to be absolute cinema in a matter of moments? It's going to be developer versus creator showdown, which, that's going to be exciting because we get to see our first ever gameplay of Blade on the professional stage. Yeah,
we're going to be summoning down from our co-streaming couch some of the creators in order to see just how well they can play against the developers of the game. I believe all the developers we have today are hero designers.
Yes.
Including the hero designer of Blade, who might be able to pull that one out.
And Black Panther.
Oh.
But also Doctor Strange, which I feel like Doctor Strange must have been a developer's nightmare, just being able to program those portals.
Can you imagine taking that to the tech lead? Like, listen, it's a portal. We're going to portal on down to the stage here to see what Fate has to say as they stamp their ticket to the finals.
The question has been answered. The grand finals has been set after Rad took down 100 Thieves 3-0, and I am joined by the one, the only Fate. And Fate, I've got to ask you, you've now played Envy a couple of times, once in the playing stage, then the main stage. What have you learned to get the different result, and how are you feeling?
I think third time's going to be the charm. I think Envy, we knew since the start of this tournament they'd be the strongest team here. Since the play-ins, we knew they were our biggest opponent. I think this time we're going to lock in, we're going to play the best we can, and we're going to win the series.
Like it, solid answer.
And you just beat 100 Thieves to get to this point, and it was a solid performance. Talk me through it. Like, what had you so prepared for this?
I think we just came in, we played our game. I think it was a series where we just played it clean. We came in, we did our job, we got a 3-0. I think Citadel put up a bit more of a fight, but I think it was a good series.
And of course, now that you are in the grand finals, Envy is waiting for you, but so is the audience at home. What message do you have for the rest of the world?
We said at the start, we're going to be the hardest working team. We're going to be the ones to win it. This is the third time we play Envy. Now is the time we're going to win it.
Well, guys, we are ready for the grand finals, but first we have a match you don't want to miss, the show match